Time to check in with our lizard overlords. What are they up to? Well, this.
Is this the worst hour now?
Are we done our first hour?
Yeah, we're into our worst hour now.
Keep your expectations of this episode low. Starting the worst hour now, I feel like we've crossed into maybe not great content hour.
Welcome to our worst hour.
We've got a backlog of questions, guys. Do you want to end on those?
Yeah, let's go through these backlog. I want to go through this backlog of questions, Mike.
So these are questions that haven't come from stories. These are questions that people have been messaging us, and they typically, if somebody messages us, get lost in the mixture of questions. So if you don't hear any of your questions after this, and you still want to,
I'm going to get some water while you guys answer the first question. I'll be right back.
Well, let's not talk about anything important because I'm just trying to.
Yeah, Chad's doing a locate. PK's getting water. Welcome to the How to Hardscape podcast.
We're not paid for this. We have to find other ways to make money while this is going on.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll talk to the audience while PK's getting water and Chad's doing his locate. If you haven't heard your question and you still want it answered, message us again, and then I'll add it to the queue because otherwise I've forgotten them. So we've hit on every question that's been submitted to us if you hear it on this episode now. I hope that made sense in my deliriousness. I did put up a repoll from the 200th episode of who's most likely to get us sued. And PK blew it away with 67%, most likely. So 2/3 of our audience still thinks PK is the most likely. Chad, you're at a quarter of our audience, and I'm at 10%. So,
well, that's all right.
And actually, Chad, there's a question specific to you. So this is actually good that PK's taking a break.
Okay, I'm ready to roll.
Okay, you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. We got this from Angelinas, land, and then it cuts off, and I just took a screenshot. So I know you've asked a question before. Ask Chad about how he is doing the large format wall. I think you've done a couple recently. So I think he was mentioning the one at the highway where you had to.
The number 2.
Logistically, it was a little bit more difficult.
That's a nightmare. So what's the type of product, your thoughts, and how they dug and moved materials around? So logistically, how did you go about that? So
and the product too. Sorry.
Cool. On that job, we are a sub. The GC is digging the wall, so we don't have to worry about that. They do that all with their total station, so it's all pretty straightforward by the time it's our turn in there. Originally, our deal was we just install the blocks and the backfill and the fabric and the tile drain. GC provides everything else. They were even supposed to get the blocks off the truck. Somehow we got roped into taking our own blocks off the truck, but they're putting in our sub base. So little song and dance to get we just switched some of our.
At what point did that get agreed upon? Was that
it? Never did.
Oh, it never did. Okay.
There's still no nothing written to say, hey, you're putting in my base now and I'm taking the blocks off the truck.
So because they put the base in, you were you kind of brushed it off, like, I'll just take the blocks off and not make a big mess about this.
Yeah, we're not gonna nickel and dime each other here.
Yeah,
let's just make sure the thing goes smoothly. So he's putting the base in now as they dig it, and they're packing. For some reason, they're packing it too, which is awesome. So we're on.
If they didn't, would you have made a little bit more of a fuss, or would you have just still gone with it?
Get your blocks off the truck.
Yeah.
But the other GC and I are very, very easy. We're not gonna make a mess or a fuss about whose job is what. We're just there to get the job done, right? There's enough money on it that we can not have to worry too much about this stuff. So we're screening out the base. It's a product called a Ready Rock wall, which I think is North America wide.
I think that's one of those licensed ones.
Yeah. So they don't. There's a whole bunch of places that make Ready Rock wall. They just have the molds or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's a Ready Rock wall engineered. The city paid this private engineering firm. No, the Ready Rock supplied the engineering for their wall based on the idea that if they supplied the engineering, we had to use Ready Rock wall to do the job. Even though it was $70,000 more than a comparable wall, uh, which is better to work with in my opinion. But here we are. We're putting in this Ready Rock wall. It's going great. I find like big block walls and stuff, the tolerances, like you're never worried about tolerances. It's not like it's a Celtic wall or something where you're shimming it with fucking pennies and all this stuff. Like you just put them in and go. Like I've never had a problem with a big block wall. Yeah, there's no tiebacks or anything like that. You just stack it and go. And we got a backfill at the same time. And the spec on this is sort of weird where you're backfilling a foot and a half with clear behind the wall and in the gaps, and then you have a fabric that separates another foot and a half of 4-inch minus behind that, and you have to pack it in lifts, and it's just a nightmare, logistical nightmare,
Yeah.
because the 14-ton doesn't quite reach safely. Like the bottom blocks are 8,000 pounds a piece, and it's like 20 feet down on a shelf that is made of excavated material for this portion of the wall. Like it's not, they weren't even gonna do it. I'm like, can you save some of that excavation and just like shelf me up here so that I can walk on it? They're like, yeah, I guess you're gonna need some way to put the wall in, right? Like, yeah. And we had to take out part of the guardrail, close down half the road. We have traffic barriers and lights and stuff, and a whole traffic, like the traffic control plan is like 20 pages long for this wall. But it's nice when you're the sub because you don't have to worry about a lot of that shit. You're just like, oh, GC's problem. So, but it's awesome. I love doing big block wall. I wish I could do them every day.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
all right.
What was the question?
Question was, ask Chad about how he's doing large. How is he doing the large format wall? What he thinks of the product, his thoughts, and how they dug out and moved materials in and out on that hill.
Without the 20-ton, I'd be lost on that job. Like it's not doable. I think. I didn't buy it with the intention of doing this, but now that you have it, you find ways to use this stuff. Right? Like, just float the 20-ton. If you had to rent it, it's like I don't know, you probably 15 grand a month, 20 grand a month or something like that. But if you have it, it costs you nothing and you just put it to work. So
New Leaf Ottawa gave us quite a few questions here. PK, we were just talking about how you're still the most likely to get us sued from the 200th episode poll. 67% of the audience still thinks.
Perfect.
And so New Leaf Ottawa asks, question for the pod. Should landscapers put a tip option in their invoices?
no.
No?
No.
No. I've never been tipped, but my workers have been tipped.
So, yeah, I think that I don't know tipping etiquette. I think tipping etiquette is you don't tip the owner of a business because it's supposed to be insulting. Like if you go to the hairdresser and it's the owner of the hairdress shop, I don't know. I don't know exact tipping etiquette, but it's like if you're the owner of the business, like if we finished a job and someone wanted to give our guys a couple cases of beer or gift cards, I'd be happy with that, but they don't necessarily, right?
I I don't know. I think asking for a tip, like for the most part, my prices have covered everything. I don't need any more of your money unless it's something that we've agreed upon. I personally am a generous tipper. My wife's like, "Are you seriously tipping that much?" I'm like, we do well, like these people are working hard if they're serving you or whatever it is, but like I don't think your landscaper needs a tip. Maybe the employees, like some of the guys are like, "Oh, we planted trees today. We made $100 each from the client." Whatever. Good for you guys. But I don't ask them for their tip money. You know, it's it's all theirs to keep.
What
I don't
about
even.
lawn care? Do you think lawn care guys should have a tipping option?
Uh, I
It's
don't
like
know.
getting a haircut just for your lawn.
I don't know what the margins are like on lawn care. Do they need to be tipped? Like, are they?
I think the margins are slimmer than hardscape, obviously.
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
see.
but then it's repetitive business, right?
Yeah, that's
Any
the
Haircut.
trade-off.
any repetitive business usually has slimmer margins.
But higher upsell on the back end.
Hmm.
So should lawn care guys get tipped?
I think they could try.
Yeah. Because I know it is a thing for lawn care CRMs to have a tipping option. Toggled on or off if they want it.
I just feel like it's so cheap.
I do too. Yeah.
Like no matter what, it's cheap. Like Subway asks you for a tip.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Getting out of hand.
So no tips.
No tip.
Okay. I think that was the last one. I could be missing something. The only other one we got was wasn't for another
I
show.
said we had boatloads of questions.
I thought so too. And then maybe I forgot to screenshot them. So I might have to go back into our messages again. So this isn't a question for the actual podcast. This might be like a story that we put out, but it's pretty good. What one of us, so what Not Our Finest Hour host, do you identify with most? So I think we would each identify with ourselves the most because we are ourselves. But that might be a good story that we put up. Who do you identify? This person says, no, so you can't choose mixes. You can only choose one person. Theirs is Paver King, except I like my miters. And though arguable, I'd want it to be Mike because I'm jealous of the numbers game. And good show. Thanks, guys.
I wonder if he hates himself.
Oh my god. There's more people that do than you can imagine.
I'm sure there are.
Just because you're blessed without it doesn't mean that there isn't. I bet there's more people mired in self-hatred than there is in people mired in self-belief.
Yeah, probably. I employ 9 guys that hate themselves, or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing, Well, for the most part, I think they're
I don't
miserable.
know how
But
many people we have right now. There's 6 field staff and 3 drivers now, so we have 9 too.
what do you?
Well, then there's me and Kelly. That's 11. Are you including yourself in 9, or you have 9 plus you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm 9. No, I'm 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tony, one of the brokers, he works with us every single day, so you should probably count Tony because he just brings a truck to work, but he works every day with us. So I would count Tony. So yeah, I think there's more people that are caught up in self-hatred than you might think. So we got this before being let go without cause. We got this brand new Android phone for that person because they couldn't function with an Apple phone. And I'm looking at it sitting on my desk going, this phone seems pretty nice. Maybe I should start using this phone.
I think that's a mistake.
You think that's a big mistake?
Yeah, your creature comforts, as soon as you're without them, you're gonna get mad.
Hmm.
You hate yourself more than you already do.
Yeah.
I had an Android for a while, and it wasn't for me.
I'm like such a creature of habit. I think it would take me a long time to switch. And I don't know that there's any advantage in it. So I think it would just take a long time to switch over to learn a new system. But what am I learning the new system for? Like, what's the point of it? Doesn't it just send text message? I don't do, I send text messages, emails, and take pictures and make videos. I posted, we're having a big sale on crushed concrete right now.
You are personally having a sale?
A huge sale on triaxle loads of crushed concrete. We will never give out better prices than we are right now on crushed concrete.
What's the triaxle of crushed concrete go for?
Anywhere in Durham region, $375.
Oof. What's a truck of regrinds go for out there?
I think it's $450.
Jeez, I get a truck of regrinds for $125. I know.
Someone's losing their shirt on that.
I think they just get rid of them off the highway. But
They could be getting paid to, like, is it wrap? Like, is it fine grind wrap, or is it just grounded off the highway?
one shot. Yeah.
Like from the highway into the truck to your yard?
Yeah.
Okay, around here we get that for free. No one ever pays for it. So you're getting ripped off.
No, because I can use it the way it is.
I'm saying I could get that for free all day.
Okay, send it this way.
Well, it's like
That's good stuff, man.
I'm talking about like wrap, like fine regrinded wrap.
No,
that's what we sell for. That's because people don't like the stuff that you're talking about. Like it's got chunks that are still got yellow paint on it and stuff.
No, it's not that bad. Come on.
Oh fuck, it is.
No, it's not like
single ground off the fucking right off the road. It works good. Like if you're just doing like a big parking lot, I agree with you. It works good. It's just around here, no one would ever pay for that.
Oh,
they would just take it for free.
I'll take pay for it. $125. Not a lot you can get for $125. So I'm willing to take a triaxle of this stuff with a couple chunks in it.
Oh, $125 is still a good deal.
Yeah. Well, not if you're getting it for free, but it's fine for me.
Yeah, but if they're refusing, see where you live, there's probably a lot more viable options to get rid of it. There's more people looking for regrind in Cornwall than there is looking for regrind in downtown Toronto.
Yeah, downtown Toronto.
Or even downtown Oshawa. Or like if you're grinding Highway 2 through Whitby and Oshawa, like no one wants that stuff. But in Cornwall, there's probably more places, more people, more of a bidding war for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's impossible to get, and sometimes there's a surplus. So it just depends what's going on, I guess. But...
PK, have you lived in Oshawa your whole life?
No. I grew up in Midland and Finch.
Oh.
Scarborough.
Is it? I sent you a clip, of that guy talking about Oshawa. How you should get out of Oshawa. Why are you visiting Oshawa? Is Oshawa really that bad, or?
Not to me, but I live here, so you know. I think when you live somewhere, you get used to whatever it is. Like I've been to London for Paisley soccer. That place is fucking disgusting. It's ridiculous.
We used to be a paper mill town, and we were a hockey town too, right? So we have tons of hockey rinks and stuff, and kids would come for like hockey tournaments and stuff, and they get off the bus and like hold their nose because they couldn't believe how bad Cornwall smelled, because pulp mills smell fucking terrible. But I'm like, I can smell it. I grew up here, right? Like you just can't smell it anymore.
So is those still pulp mills?
No, all the paper mills are closed everywhere. So they come from China or wherever you get paper these days. I don't know. India, China,
India.
Bangladesh, one of those places. Wherever they make paper.
Today they made the transport minister made a huge announcement that they're no longer going to let people get driver's licenses in Ontario that like issue commercial driver's licenses to people in Ontario that don't have any immigration status. Like that seems like something we shouldn't have been doing. Like we're having an announcement for stopping that. Like what the fuck are you talking about? Why were we doing that to begin with? Like that's something I wouldn't have had a big press conference for. I would have just swept that under the rug. Like maybe made that change, but not fucking told the world I was making that change. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, wow.
Like no wonder there's a million accidents. I just read it too. I'll go back to it so I can. Oh, breaking news. Ontario to stop issuing truck driving licenses on people to people on visitor visas to Canada.
Where are these guys getting jobs? Like,
So there are some countries that we have treaties with that you can just swap out your driver's license. So if you have a driver's license from the States, let's say,
but did you
you
need
can you could just go to Service Ontario or whatever and just swap it out.
Yeah, but a commercial driver's license or a G?
Oh,
driver's
is that commercial you said?
There's yeah, this was
Oh,
the
I didn't
transport
catch that.
minister.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're talking about how there's so many accidents on the highway with truck commercial vehicles, and they're saying they're going to stop issuing driver licenses to people with visitors visas to Canada.
Wow, I didn't catch the commercial part.
Because there was some kind of big they're doing like a police investigation into a bunch of Service Canadas in Brampton or something where they were issuing driver's licenses without tests for cash or something. I don't know. Some kind of there's so many political scams now. I have no fucking idea which one they're talking about, but somehow it seems like that seems like a good idea that you should if you're here on a 3-month visitor visa, you probably shouldn't get a commercial truck driving license.
How do you get a commercial truck driving job though? Like people can't drive without 3 years of experience, and these guys are hopping in
No,
transport to
they
giving it.
can't. Yeah, but not if you have a fleet. The reason that people want 3 years experience, say from us, is we don't have a fleet. If you have 100 trucks, they won't give a shit who you hire to drive them, because the the risk will be mitigated by the amount of vehicles. So if you have 100 trucks, they'll probably let you have like 5 or 6 new drivers because you're going to have
But
94 good drivers. So the risk of those 6 is mitigated. And then those 6 need to do their 3 years worth of driving experience in some kind of fleet like that. And then they could come work for a smaller company like ours.
I get it, but it's not a problem until it's a problem, right? As soon as the accident happens and someone dies, well, you have a new driver. Why do you have a new driver? It's not, I don't think it's as cut and dry as, oh, well, we have a fleet of 100 and we were allowed
So
to.
I'm gonna tell you it is that cut and dry. 100%.
I don't know. Not whenever some kid dies or some family dies and they're looking into the insurance after the fact and they're like,
I'm telling you that if you have a fleet of trucks, you can hire new drivers and insurance won't stop you. If you don't have a fleet of trucks, and depending on what insurance company you use, like our insurance company uses 10 heavy trucks, as they consider that a fleet. We have 5.
Yeah.
So we're not a fleet. I'm just saying I've been doing this for 5 years, 6 years now. Like we have a better time with insurance now that we have 5. When we only had 2, it was like putting every driver through the fucking ringer. Now that we have 5, I don't think we've had anyone that we've tried to hire rejected off insurance this year yet. They all have to fill out a resume. Like it's like a resume that Kelly does with them that lists all their experience and where they worked. And that being said, I don't think we've tried to put anyone through that was less than probably 5 or 6 years experience this year. But if you have a lot of trucks, they don't give a shit who drives your trucks
That's terrifying.
because you just
If
have
I were the insurance company, I would be terrified.
if there's accidents, you just have to your insurance will go up. So you have to make the decision as a company when you put the people in the trucks.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's
Is that because there's a shortage on truckers?
No, it's just always been insurance. Like when I was a kid, everyone had fleet insurance. No one even as long as you had a valid driver's license, you had fleet. It was called fleet insurance, and anyone could drive any. That's how I started driving like commercial vehicles at 16. I'd had my license for like a week because back then there was just fleet insurance. I don't even know if they checked your fucking license. I think it was up to the company to like all this stuff that they do now. None of that fucking shit went on before. It's all about risk mitigation. If you have a client with 1,000 trucks on the road, or say 500 trucks, which isn't even that. I mean, big trunking companies might have 1,000 trucks. I don't know. Then if you want to have 5, 6, 7 new drivers, your risk is getting mitigated. And then there's a whole realm of people too that don't even they get valid insurance and then they don't even have like I know people personally who have drivers on their insurance for their trucks that haven't worked for them in 3 years, and the people that have been driving the trucks for 2 years aren't even on their insurance policy. We try to do it legally. Always. I don't think we've always made sure everyone's on the insurance, and because if shit happens, you're fucked.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Like I'm not saying that's how I would do it. It just there was one time they pulled over a whole bunch of trucks, and like half of the people driving the trucks had G licenses.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just that I don't know that I guess there's probably a driver shortage for sure, but part of it too is that people don't want to pay real wages.
Right.
Well, the whole trucking industry is less than what it's worth. Like $110, $115 an hour for a triaxle is bonkers. Like I think the floor on the industry should be like 145 an hour. But
But it depends where you are.
yeah, I suppose. But
Like when we were pricing trucks, Jack was pricing a huge job in Peterborough. I told him to call around and find out what trucks were going for in Peterborough because we needed like 10 or 15 trucks on that job for like 3 weeks. And I said, you need to call around Peterborough because I don't have 10 or 15 trucks I can put on this job of my own. And I don't know what rates are. And rates in Peterborough, I think at the time were like 135. Because there's no trucks up there. Come into Toronto or Durham region, there's fucking hundreds of dump trucks.
yeah. Yeah. I don't
But
know.
the further away you go, the less trucks there are.
I feel like there's a lot of trucks in my city.
Oh, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah. We just run our own so that we don't have to call people to get stuff for us. Because then there's waiting. I don't like to wait. Rather get in my truck and get it.
This year's been a good year for not having to wait.
Yeah.
I can call last minute and get a quick delivery.
Yeah. I forgot to order material. And they're like, oh, we'll be ready to lay by lunch. I'm like, ugh. I never even put in the order for material. Called it in there, like, we'll have it there in 45 minutes. I said,
Wow.
perfect. I'm like, that's it. That's good. Yeah. Not always like that.
It's funny how I was like so on the ball for like 3 years with like pre-ordering and got this all, and now it took like 3 months to like fall back into shit. We got to do this. Fuck. Like today, there's these we're doing this job. There's stepping stones at the side of the house. And I've asked Nancy for 4 months to pick out the fucking stepping stones. Made suggestions. She ignored them. She didn't do it. She didn't follow through. She never picked them out. So today I just was like, fuck, we need these stepping stones tomorrow. Or we had a delivery going there tomorrow.
If
So
you
I
had
just,
a boneyard, you would probably have a pallet of stepping stones. I just used a pallet that I've had for 3 years from the boneyard for stepping stones.
mm.
Like, yeah, didn't have to call it in, didn't have to source it. It was just there. He's like,
Wow.
what color are the stepping stones? Said, I think they're gray. Didn't want to say, but I haven't looked at them in 3 years.
So the argument would be that if you had returned that, you would have had access to that money for the last 3 years to improve your business.
No. I don't need more money to improve my business.
Ooh,
I
it's a
I
confident statement.
I rates to borrow money are like, so the only time we borrow money is to finance equipment, right? Other than that, I don't know what I need that I can't float myself. I could be missing something completely. I could be missing a huge piece of the puzzle, but I think we're getting by okay.
Oh, I was just saying that that's the argument. If you took all the stuff from the boneyard and returned it all and got all the money for all the skids, you probably got 10K worth of shit sitting there.
Easily, probably close to 20.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, would you rather have that 20 grand or would you rather have a bunch of shit sitting around your yard? That's all I'm.
Oh, I'd rather have the 20 grand, but like even today we went in the boneyard and we picked out, oh, we need some base block. So there's some blue 60 there. You flip it over, smooth side up. That makes a great base block for Raffinato steps, you know. You get them in real quick, you put a little bit of glue, then you can slide the steps without fucking up the base and everything. Fucking awesome. If I didn't have that, well, there's an hour trip to the retailer, buy some base block or load some base block, and then off. So
Totally seems worth 20 grand to me, too.
I but I would have to put that all into motion, right? So Scott would call, oh, we got no base block here. Okay, call the retailer, tell him you want to pick something up. Then Josh is waiting on site, so there's another $50 an hour or whatever, right? Is it worth it? No, but I don't have to deal with the headache of having to orchestrate the whole thing to find base block. Just go to the yard and take what's there. And to me, that peace of mind is better than the fucking phone call. What do we do about this? What do we do about just take it from the yard? It's all there.
Couldn't you just ship some base block when you ship the Raffinato steps from the?
Yeah,
Like,
but
I'm just saying, in theory,
yeah,
you could
absolutely.
have $20,000 in your pocket, and you could just say, put a layer of blue 60 on there for base block.
Yeah, I'm sure you absolutely could. Or we could use the good material that's sitting out at the front as base block. You know, flip it over. There's 12 pallets of blue 60 there waiting to go in. We could flip some of those over and bury them, I guess, right? But we got to
Yeah.
go to the yard, pick up the packer, pick up the other stuff that you need, get rolling. I'm not saying I'm doing it right. This is just how
I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm
we're
just playing devil's
justified.
advocate.
I have probably 6 pallets of Villaggio in every color you could want, just sitting at the yard. Should it be there? Absolutely fucking not. Like I'll throw a couple layers in on a job. Oh, yeah, we'll use that as a banding or something, you know, or that'll go in front of the curbing. It's just there. I don't know. If I get a new job, I order new and I forget that I have it there, right? And so it just keeps accumulating. There's tons of it, tons of the stuff. But
I fucking hate shit kicking around the yard like that.
but I have room for it, right?
If I had room, I'd throw it away. I just don't like it. I think we could have a boneyard. I don't know. We have a pile of dirt at our yard because people are like, the dump's closed. I'm like, go to the southwest corner of the yard and dump the dirt. And then it gets to be a big mountain of dirt. And then sooner or later, some dump is closed. And I'll be like, okay, get rid of the. Or if Cody and Ross don't have anything to do, I'm like, because it's usually like triaxle loads of dirt that get dumped in the corner under some emergency reason. So I'm like, I'll be like, hey, go load the bins and fucking haul bins of dirt out of there if they have nothing to do.
I love it. I pay people, or I charge people to dump out my yard. Filler in.
Well, then
Yeah,
you can
20.
screen it.
Well, the topsoil goes in one pile, and the brick goes in another pile, and the fill goes in another pile. And I bought that dozer now, so I got something to push it with. And
Nice.
yeah, we're...
What happens if somebody brings in a soil that's contaminated with Phragmites?
You fucking spread it and you put it under the sod. Phragmites isn't coming up through my sod on a residential neighborhood.
Okay.
Maybe it is.
Phragmites are everywhere.
Yeah, so there's
They're fucking everywhere. You can't get rid of a fucking Phragmite to save your life. They're fucking everywhere. The only person on the planet that's like having to pay to get this pull this shit is me. And that's, we all say that's just the Paver King way. If something fucked up can happen. So did we talk about Christie's dump truck?
the transmission. Is it the
So on Eaton Fuller 18-speed autos, there's like this, the shifter is on the column and it's like a dial drive. It looks like a windshield wiper shifter.
Oh, yeah. So
this shifter is known to be a recall and known to be a bad part. And there's the repair for it is to recall it and put a new one in. So if you knew that the truck, my first problem is, if you knew that the shifter in the truck was fucked up and part of a recall, why didn't you replace it before you sent the truck out the door? Kenworth is more than aware that the truck is fucked when they sent it out the door. So that's my first. These are the list of reasons we'll probably never buy another truck from Kenworth. And we will certainly never buy another truck from Bowmanville Kenworth. They can suck my fucking dick. So first of all, I've never dealt with a more incompetent dealership than them. So first of all, they sent the truck out knowing that that part was garbage, right? So the truck gets stuck in, the truck thinks it's in drive when it's in neutral, so it won't start. That's what happens with this shifter. So Christy calls them when the truck won't start. They're like, oh, just jam it around and sooner or later hope that it starts, because the truck is fucking loaded with gravel in the fucking gravel pit.
why did she turn it off in the gravel pit?
Because it doesn't have a CB in it yet, and the loader guy wanted to ask her something, so he pulled up beside her and he shut the loader off and she shut the truck off just so she could say
Gotcha.
whatever, and then truck won't start again. So she beats on it with her fist till she gets it to start. She drives it to Kenworth. Now, I want everyone to keep in mind this truck was $300,000. Like, this isn't a 2000 Honda Insight. Okay, this is. So we take it to Kenworth. She takes it to Kenworth. They pull it right into the bay. They shut it off. They put it on the computer and they say, oh, the computer's not registering any problems. There's no record of this being a problem. And Chrissy says, well, it clearly fucking happened. And they say, well, there's no record of it. And then they start to try to start the truck. And it's dead in the bay. So now the truck is dead in the bay at Kenworth. And everyone there is like, we don't know what to do. And Christy's like, get the part, replace the fucking shifter. They're like, we don't know. So then it becomes this, we have to email Packard. We have to email Eaton Fuller. We have to like, what are you talking about? We bought the truck here. It's $300,000. It's broken. Fix it. So this goes on for a whole day. Nothing gets accomplished. The truck is still dead in the bay. They send Bill picks up Christy, brings her home. The next day, at the end of the truck sits there and dead in the bay all day. Finally, they smash it and hit it enough that they get it to start, and they back the truck out of the bay. So now the truck is out of the bay in the parking lot. And then they tell her to just come and get it and drive it the way it is. And she says, well, did you fix it? And they say no. Because the problem wasn't registered in the computer, PACCAR refused to change the shifter because there's no proof that it's an actual problem. I'm like, the truck was dead in the bay in your dealership in front of everybody who works there. Yeah, well, PACCAR says they won't replace the fucking thing. Just come and get it. And Christy's like, you couldn't get it. You had to beat the shit out of it to get it. Like, what happens what if it's loaded and has the trailer on it and a machine and it dies?
Yeah.
So one of the mechanics working on the truck called Christy and said, hey, do you need this thing back right away? And she said, in its current condition, I need it back never. Like, it's not drivable. Like, what do you mean, do I need it back? It's not drivable. So he says, I want to take a deeper look into it. And so then Christy called back to talk to the nighttime service manager and said, listen, I want an email sent that lists every single person that dealt with this truck. I want a history of every person that told us to take this truck off site in its current condition. So when it gets towed back here loaded and it's fucked from getting towed loaded, or it's stuck on the side of the road, or whatever goes on with it, you guys are going to pay. So send me an email with every single person that ever looked at this truck on it. They called back 10 minutes later. Yeah, we're going to replace the shifter for you.
Fucking right you are.
Yeah, but why not just do the right thing to begin with? And that's why I'm going to advise everyone on this podcast, never buy a Kenworth. Certainly never buy a Kenworth from fucking Bowmanville.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it's a $300,000 truck with $11K on it, and no one there was willing to help us at all.
Wow.
Until you threaten them, and then it's like it's nothing to put a new shifter in it. But why does it need to get to the point where you have to threaten? Why not just put the new shifter in it? Because the truck is dead in your bay.
That would be too.
And you know that it is a recall part. You know it's a recall part. You know it's a problem. It's not a mystery what's wrong with the truck. There's nothing to figure out here. Why not just replace the shifter? Because that's what the fact that the truck even left Bowmanville Kenworth and they knew it was fucked up when they sent it out the door. That in itself is a reason to never purchase another Kenworth and certainly never buy one from Bowmanville Kenworth. They knew it was fucked when they sent it out the door. It was a ticking time bomb that they knew was completely fucked and they didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So that's the first problem. The second problem is once it was fucked, why wouldn't you just replace it? Why give us a hard time? Because the truck sat there for 3 days by the time they replaced the shifter.
3 days of not making money.
3 days of not making any money sitting there. And at the same time, because we're Paver King, the starter, for some reason, blew out of the 2022 truck. So both the trucks were dead. We have a 2024 truck and a 2022 truck, and they're both dead. And the whole time I was thinking, man, I wish we had that 2013. It ran. But and all of that is why Paver King will never buy another Kenworth and never buy another Kenworth from I will never deal with Bowmanville Kenworth again. Any warranty issues from now on are going straight to Concord Kenworth, where the truck was originally. But then we got forced to buy it in Bowmanville by Kenworth Toronto.
Why you can't buy out of?
Because so the truck was on a website, on the Kenworth Toronto website. I just made an inquiry about it. They sent my inquiry to Bowmanville, I guess, because I had an Oshawa address. When I contacted the goofball from Bowmanville, he said, go out and look at the truck in Concord, but never bothered to show up. So we went and looked at the truck at Concord, and the salesman at Concord was a really, really good guy. And I would have vastly preferred to buy the truck off him. But he didn't want to upset the apple cart. So we ended up buying the truck from Bowmanville, which is not somewhere I would ever purchase a truck from. Now, in my current experience, I would definitely never purchase a truck from there again.
So next time you have $300,000 to spend, you know.
I thought International and Rush was hard to deal with, and then I bought a Kenworth. Like,
next time you go on Western Star,
I guess maybe I'll be dead by the time we need a new truck, and none of this will be a fucking problem. The problem is you can't buy a Peterbilt because it's just a Pack R2. So I can imagine that their service is about the fucking same as Kenworth's. Because obviously, when you're dealing with that level of incompetence, it's a systemic problem within the corporation.
Yeah.
Like, when you're so incompetent, you're sending shit out the fucking door that you know is fucked up, and then giving people a hard time when they bring the fucked up shit back. That's a systemic problem within the corporation. Because that's someone at the top making a policy saying, we know this is fucked up, but it costs $1,000 to fix this. So let's send it out the door and hope that it lasts till there's no more warranty. Let's hope that the fucked up part lasts till, because the trucks only have like a 12-month warranty on them. So they sent it out the door hoping that it would last 12 months and then we would have to pay them to fix it. But because it fucked up in the first 6 weeks, now they want to fight with us about fixing it. But that's systemic. That's a systemic problem. That's not one dealership. That's all the dealerships for sure. Because that's a systemic policy of Kenworth Toronto or whatever. There's two Kenworths. There's Kenworth Ontario and Kenworth Toronto. I think this is Kenworth Toronto. But the fact that they would even send out shit that they know is fucked up is,
Yeah.
Anyways, the truck is fixed for now, I guess. So far, who knows if they replaced it with a new part or maybe it's some old part from the back that will work for a bit. It's not like we had the most trustworthy experience with these people. Like, I don't know.
It's been a tough year.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe there's someone who's had amazing experience there. This is only my opinion, right? There might be a million people who fucking love them there. Although I haven't bumped into anyone.
Maybe you're the 1-star review.
No, give it a 3 stars still.
Yeah.
more trustworthy.
So we have the truck back and it's running currently. So God only knows what other parts they sent it out the door with recalls on them that they don't give a fuck about, that they're hoping last 12 months. The other problem with anything to do, because I was talking to a guy called me looking for trucks, and he also has a brand new Kenworth, but it's a tandem and it's a new model. And he has had nothing but fucking an absolute disastrous time with it. And he said his problem is, and this happened to us with International too, is these truck manufacturers don't actually make any of the truck.
Yeah. Frankenstein.
Like, yeah, the trucks are all like Frankenstein. So when there's a problem, they're always like, oh, well, that's Ginkor. Or McDonald put the box on our International, right? So every time there was a problem, they're like, oh, that's a McDonald problem. You got to call them. Except they're located in like, I don't know, like Kitchener or something. So I'm like, what? You want me to drive the truck to Kitchener to sell? So I used to just pay Brad to fix it because it's cheaper. But and the same was like when there was a code in the tranny of the International, they were like, oh, that we're not actually an Allison dealer, so you got to take that to Freightliner. Like, so we bought this truck from you. It's 6 months old, and you want me to take it to the Freightliner dealership? Because you don't like they don't. The problem is they don't make anything anymore, these truck manufacturers. There's no parts that are actually manufactured. So it's all just them shuffling you from place to place.
That used to be why no one would. Well, Sterling is known as like the Frankenstein, right? Like it had a Cummins, and then the transmissions were all fucking interchangeable and shit like that. And like, oh,
Yeah.
you don't want a Sterling, it's a Frankenstein. Now they're all like that.
Every truck is like that.
They're all like that.
And then they all just blame each other and no one ever fixes fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been it realistically the shifter part, this part that's fucked up, I think it was like $1,000 for the part. It would have been way cheaper for me to call Brad and say, get this new shifter part, pay the $1,000, and then pay Brad whatever he charged to put it in. Because God only knows, I know he could probably do it faster than the fucking morons at Kenworth. And then fucking that would have been cheaper than have the truck sit there for 4 days and argue about it.
No, absolutely.
Like that cost $2,000 a day for the truck to sit there. It was there 3 or 4 days. So we're in 6-8 grand for them to replace the part and then act like they're heroes because they replaced it for free. Like literally act like they're heroes. I'm like, dude, it would have been cheaper for me to buy the part and have Brad put it in. I would have saved money. Plus, I wouldn't have had the aggravation of dealing with morons.
Well, for next time.
Oh, it'll never go back there.
Yeah.
That is our last dealing with them, period. I'll try. There's a Kenworth dealer in Peterborough. Well, after 12 months, it never has to go back there again anyways. Because the warranty will be up.
Which is a ridiculous warranty whenever you think about it, compared to everything else in the world. Like for $300,000, you get 12 months. And
Yeah,
people
but
warranty their fucking landscape for 10 years?
well, 9 if you're you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but part of that is I went by a job site today, actually, driving to the doctor's, and it was a job that I did in 2005. I got to say, it was looking pretty good.
Yeah.
The stairs, the stairs met the porch, and then there was an overlay on the porch, and the stairs, it's like, anyways, the stairs had sunk a bit, and you could start seeing the top of the, the bricks that are sitting on the concrete. You could start to see that. But other than that, the job looked perfect. I thought that's pretty good for 2005.
20 years? Yeah.
20 years. Yeah. 20 years ago, I did that. I guess. Yeah. Almost 20 years. Fuck. That's crazy. I have pictures from that job while we were doing it. Yeah. 20 years. The garden wall looked good. The whole thing looked good. Minus minorly sunk stairs. So it's 9:08. Is that the end of the podcast?
All she wrote.
This is the end of the podcast. No, now this is the end of the podcast. No. Now this is the real end of the podcast. Mike's going to stop the recording now. Mike.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Are you sure you want to stop recording so the class?
Stop the recording of the podcast.
You will receive an email notification.
Yeah, those people run the world. They're so impressive. What a bunch of freaks.